we wants to not think, you know, dang, we made it, you know, stuff like that. For the simple fact being is, you know, we surround ourselves with people that are doing 100 racks a month, you know, not 100 racks in 5 months. So, you know, we know that there's levels to it, and, you know, we know what people are doing, what it takes to get to that 7-figure standpoint, because they're here. You know, there's 7-figure investors, 8-figure investors, you know, $100 million people in this resort right now. So to be at 19 and to see that visually, you know, it humbles you and it keeps you grounded, and it makes you realize that, you know, no matter how much you think you're doing, there's always somebody going 10 times harder than you, so you need to step your shit up for sure.
How two 19-year-olds have been able to close over $100,000 in wholesale assignment fees in 5 months of closing their first deal. That's what we're going to be breaking down here today. I'm joined with two good friends of mine, Darius Whitfield and Clay Stiltner. Super excited to talk about this so you can see exactly what that process looked like to be able to scale to over 6 figures in less than 5 months. Man, I'm super excited for this. I appreciate you both being on here.
Definitely, bro. It's a pleasure.
Absolutely. So the cool thing is we actually did another interview 2-3 months ago and talked about you getting your guys' first deal. And now we're talking about like 4 deals, 5 deals deep, and a whole bunch more in the pipeline.
Yeah.
So, you know, just kind of reintroduce you guys just in case they didn't see that other video, you know, who you are, kind of where you're from, and what do you do and how do you get started?
Sure. So yeah, I'm Darius Whitfield. I'm from Columbus, Ohio, and, you know, what we do is we invest in real estate. Currently, you know, we're wholesaling, you know, to get that capital to bring us into the game, so, you know, we can start doing the whole portfolio there with flips, rental properties, commercial units, buy and hold, and, you know, the whole jazz. But we're using wholesaling to get our foot in the door. Within the business, you know, I'm more the front end guy, you know, the one on the phones, making the call, locking up the deals, negotiating the prices, communicating with the tenants and the seller. You know, once I get the deal locked up at a price that, you know, we could go ahead and get the deal done at, I'll go ahead and pass it over to my partner, and then, you know, I'm off the deal and I go move to the next lead, and he go ahead and sells the contract and, you know, does his jazz.
Yeah, so my name's Clay Stiltner from Columbus, Ohio as well. Like Darius said, we're wholesalers in real estate just to get some capital and get it started in the real estate game. Darius is the front end, I'm the back end. So the back end meaning once he gets the first contract signed, he'll then bring that to me, and then I'll sign that over to a cash buyer. Make sure the closing gets done with the cash buyer, also help out with the titles. Like I said, you know, coordinating with the seller and the title company just to make sure it gets closed. Also do a lot more than just getting it closed. I do the marketing side, budgeting, really just help scaling the business. So
I love it.
All the behind the scenes work.
I love it. I love it. So like I said, the last video we did, you guys closed the first deal, right? How much was the first deal?
11,000.
Cool. And then 5 months later, after that first deal, how much have you closed?
Just short of 100 racks, a little over 100 racks actually.
And the goal for this year at the beginning, 2021, was 100 grand in the year.
Yeah, it definitely was. Yeah. By December 31st, that was actually the goal.
Love it. So now you're on pace for 250 this year?
That's the new goal, quarter ticket.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So the last video, and we'll link that in the description below, kind of talks about how you got started, right? You know, then you closed that first deal, made $11,000, you know, had a check. A lot of people would do a lot of different things with that check, some good and some bad. After that first deal, what did you change in your business? Or what did you keep the same?
What we keep the same? You know, obviously the work ethic, you know, we didn't slow down on that. We didn't get comfortable at all. We really didn't keep that much the same. So, you know, at first Darius was making all the phone calls, the cold calls. So the first thing we did was hire a cold caller from out of the country just to get that off our plate so it could free up Darius instead of, you know, making the cold calls, getting cussed out, la-di-da-di-da, to, you know, actually dealing with the warmer leads just so he could, you know, use his time in a better place instead of just, you know, running through hundreds of phone calls. He could focus on the, you know, 20 to 60 a day that he could, you know, they're the warmer sellers and higher percentage of, you know, actually getting a deal locked up.
I love it. So the cold caller makes thousands of phone calls.
Yeah.
And then hands the hot leads off to Darius now.
Yes, sir.
So saving a bunch of time, basically.
Yeah,
definitely.
Cool. So hire some cold callers. Did you buy any more data?
Yeah. So originally, you know, just in our budget, we could probably spend like $2,000 a month. We actually upgraded that. So the first set was around in February. We got a list of like 15,000 just high equity lists. We didn't get anything that month, unfortunately, but that turned into another deal. Yeah, so we got that second deal in March for 28,000. It It was a nice little wholesale fee. Then we just took all that money, still haven't paid ourselves yet. And we hired another cold caller, so now we got 2. We had to double down again on data, so now a month we're pulling about 25,000 to 30,000 new leads a month, just high equity. And then also we started SMS blasting.
What platform are you using for SMS?
We used batch leads, but unfortunately now they're only allowing 1,000 texts a day.
What?
And we talked to Sean, so we're gonna start using launch control.
Nice.
I loved batch leads because it was just so simple, but we're gonna use launch control now. So we started using batch leads, just sending out 1,000 a day. We started that late March, and then in April we got this one lead through that. That one was a $40,000 deal. So our first seller's mom actually reached out to us. She had a property she wanted to sell that was pretty distressed. We got that one under contract, and then they both closed in May. And then what we did differently after those deals closed, instead of sending 1,000 texts a day, we started sending 2,500 a day. Now here we are in Cabo, so.
So basically every time you made money, you reinvested it back into the business
every
to
dime.
keep growing.
Yeah.
Well, not every dime, but yeah.
Yeah, that's where I see a lot of people fail is they make some money and then they go out and they buy the jewelry and the cars and the super nice, elegant vacations and spend all this money that they don't need to spend, and then they try to sit there and like, man, why isn't my business working? It's because you haven't invested in it.
For sure.
So, that's something I think that's been incredible, especially for being so young, that you understand the importance of reinvesting back into marketing, because marketing is the lifeline of the business.
Okay.
So that's been phenomenal. So to be, kind of on the front end, taking all those phone calls and everything, what has that been like for you? Do you still enjoy that, or do you hate it? Do you love it because you always see money coming? What's your thought process behind it? Because a lot of people are scared to get on the phone, right? But I mean, you guys have seen it. You get on the phone, you make money. Mm-hmm. So like, how do you feel about that?
I love it. I mean, I've been doing it since I was 16. Just being on the phones, making calls all day. So, it's definitely something that a lot of people hate that I love. So it's probably, 1 in a million type thing, but I really don't have no fear towards it, never have, because I'm a people person, I love to talk.
Yeah.
I was uncomfortable to start, just like with anything else, but the more you do it, the better you get at it. So, that's what I just stuck with. And I definitely like it 10 times more, how the business is set up now with me making calls rather than before, because, it was, basically doing the same thing, but, I was doing a lot of cold calls where, it was no answers, leads, people cussing at us and whatnot. But now, I'm more dealing with the more interested sellers, so now when I hop on the Podio, I go through my untouched, my interested leads, my follow-ups, I know I'm talking to some money.
Yeah.
Somewhere, some way, this lead, whether it's 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 7 months down the line, is going to turn into some money. So that's what just really keeps me motivated, whether it's 50 new untouched leads we got in, or it's 7. I don't look at it like, regardless, there's some money in that Podio, and it's a game changer. When you have that cold calling outsourced and knowing that you're getting interested leads pushed to your Podio. And some might be retail out of, price range or not even interested in selling, but it's way better conversion to closing a deal through a cold caller sending you interested leads than you cold calling, getting an interested lead and closing on the interested lead.
For sure.
So yeah.
So that's the big thing. People don't want to start at the beginning, but you have to make cold calls.
Yeah.
It's going to suck. You're going to get cussed out. You're going to get the phone hung up on you. You're going to have very, low percentage of connection rates. But it's just part of the game, right? You continue to do that, you're going to end up getting a deal eventually, and then you can hire a cold caller. So then you're only talking to the hot leads at that point.
For sure.
That's business. There's good clients and there's bad clients. It's just part of the game. I remember when I got started, I make a few hundred phone calls, and I would call my mentor like, man, everybody wants retail. Like, how does this work? Like, real estate doesn't work. And he's just like, no, it works. Like, it's a numbers game. Eventually you're going to find somebody where the house is, screwed up, needs a lot of work. They're motivated. They've inherited the property, whatever the situation is. It's inevitable you're going to come across it. You just got to keep doing it.
Facts. It's facts.
So, and the other thing too, you mentioned like CRM and Podio, right?
Yeah.
So being able to have leads in Podio that there's money there. Mm-hmm. You're not just out chasing random money and random dollars and random leads. Like, those are hot, interested leads.
For sure.
So how do you make sure that you don't miss like follow-ups on those? Because one of the worst experiences when like you go back to a lead and say 6 months, and then it's sold to another investor and they make money. So how are you making sure the follow-up game is good?
So basically how we go ahead and do it is anything we talk to with the seller, on Podio you have that notes section, And, you know, we put anything that was said in the conversation, we go ahead and upload it into the comment section, just so you know when it comes time to follow up with the seller, you know exactly where you left off, you know, the specs on the house, the condition on the house, you know, you don't have to go through that same report again. You know, you just reach back out to see if they might be interested.
Do you have like a task?
So yeah, how we, you know, make sure we keep our follow-ups is, you know, we create tasks throughout the podio, you know, whether the follow-ups so it's an automated follow-up system that, you know, he put together through the free podio.
So it's like a drip campaign?
Yeah.
Nice.
So shout out to my mans. Yeah, so basically it's automated, so whenever we have a follow-up set up, I'll just go ahead and create a task, and then on that day, it will go ahead and put in my task for the day of making calls that I have a follow-up whenever the follow-up is. So if it's 3 months out, I'll go ahead and put it in for that day, and then when the 3 months is here, it will appear in my task section in Podio, and I'll go ahead and make that call, and it will be my follow-up. And basically how we base it is, you know, following up with sellers is basically, you know, you got to really see what type of person they are, how the conversation going, you know. There's a lot of people that aren't interested in selling, and, you know, they might say they're interested and then ask for retail, and then 5 months later down the line, they're still interested, but knowing they can't get retail, and now they're looking for a discount on the property. So, you know, just touching up on that, you know, 5 to 6 months, and then non-interested leads, you know, just briefly touching those, you know, depending on when we contact them and how the conversation went. About every 2 to 5 months, because, you know, we're not 7-figure entrepreneurs yet. You know, we don't have 11,000 leads in our podio. You know, we got like about 500 total leads in our podio. So we still have a lot of, you know, time to be able to go back and revisit leads that we talked to 8 months ago without, you know, forgetting about those, because we're just getting a big influx of leads throughout the day. You know, we're still in grade 1 in the stepping school, so we ain't done nothing yet.
Growing. So takeaways from it though is having a CRM, which is somewhere to host all of your leads that can track things. Having automated follow-ups, so you don't have to call everybody every day. There's drips of text messages that go out over time. And taking good notes, so you actually remember what you guys talked about last time.
It's the biggest thing.
And obviously making the follow-up calls. You know, that's huge.
It's
you actually got to call people to make the money. So people say the fortune's in the follow-up. So I couldn't agree more with that.
All our deals came from following up.
I love it.
Every single one.
So you're down here in Cabo, you know, reinvested again to be in a mastermind around a bunch of other high-level people. We've been here for 3 or 4 days now. So what's one of the biggest takeaways you've had from this so far?
Yeah, so I mean, the biggest takeaway from here is definitely, you know, the boat trip that we did yesterday. You know, just being on the boat in the middle of the ocean in Cabo, seeing all the beautiful, beautiful houses on the beach, the yachts with helicopters on them, you know, stuff that you see in movies that you really wouldn't see back in your home city and stuff like that. It's truly inspiring, and, you know, for a young guy like me, a visionary, you know, I dream big. And to see my dreams actually in real life, but like another man living it, just filled me with a whole different type of drive. Like, this really could happen, you know, it's just a matter of how bad do you want it. You know, it's not no fugazi movie, oh, you get a yacht. Nah, it's real life. People out here buying yachts with helicopters on it, and I just had to see that for the first time.
It's possible. It's possible. So, what about you, Clay?
So, just being down here, you know, it's nice to get away from, you know, the everyday life in Columbus. Nice to just take a step away. Also realize, you know, we're not normal 19-year-olds. A normal 19-year-old isn't, you know, having a 6-figure real estate business right now. So it's also nice to see what we've accomplished. But then also, it's like, you know, I'll go around and hang around my friends in Columbus. Nothing against them, but it's like, you know, I feel comfortable with them. And then I'm around these big groups, and it's like I haven't done anything.
Motivation.
Definitely.
You know, it's called like king of the DING-A-LINGs, right? You know, no disrespect to like anybody, but like, you know, you always want to be growing, right? So if you're the biggest fish in the room, you're probably in the wrong room, you know? And there's times and a place for that, you know, going out, kicking it, having fun with your homeboys or homegirls, that's fine. But like, if you want to grow, if you want to achieve something in life, you have to be the smallest fish in the room. You know, that's the only way you force growth. Because if you're around other people that are all leveling up, there's a saying that says a rising tide raises all ships. So if you can be with that, everyone's going up. It's motivation, it's inspiration. They're going to tell you different ways to keep winning. So it's super, super powerful.
And that's truly, you know, what I love about, you know, being out here and being with the group of guys that I'm out here with. Because, you know, like you said, at 19, you know, we closed, you know, 100 racks in assignment fees. And, you know, we once did not think, you know, dang, we made it, you know, stuff like that. For the simple fact being is, you know, we surround ourselves with people that are doing 100 racks a month, you know, not 100 racks in 5 months. So, you know, we know that there's levels to it. And, you know, we know what people are doing, what it takes to get to that 7-figure standpoint because they're here. You know, there's 7-figure investors, 8-figure investors, you know, $100 million people in this resort right now. So to be at 19 and to see that visually, you know, it humbles you and it keeps you grounded and it makes you realize that, you know, no matter how much you think you're doing, there's always somebody going 10 times harder than you, so you need to step your shit up for sure.
Facts.
Yeah.
So one takeaway, you know, you guys are young, you're making money, you know, this is what a lot of people like dreams are, right? So what's one takeaway, you know, since that first deal that you've kind of seen or visualized or lived by, try and give, you know, some motivation to the viewers out here?
The biggest thing I could say, the biggest takeaway for me is truly so I put a goal in place and, you know, we hit the goal. And it was about a 6-7 month goal. And you know, it was the first time I really went ahead and put a goal down on paper and said, okay, I'm gonna get it by then. And then I actually got it. And I got it through my business, you know, it was a business goal, but by putting my mind to something and seeing it get done, it truly made me realize, you know, outside of businesses in life, anything I put my mind to.
This is powerful. I just remembered this. You texted me this.
Yeah.
Tell them like what the paper said and when you wrote it and everything.
So a goal that I desired $100,000 by May 31st, 2021 and November 20th of 2020. And, you know, I was reading the book, Think and Grow Rich. And, you know, basically the biggest thing he was saying was, you know, you can't expect something without giving up nothing in success. You know, you can't just go and make $1 million without giving up something to go ahead and be able to make that $1 million. So I took that to the heart and I realized, you know, I can't just keep living the same life I'm living and expect me to make some money. So I went ahead and wrote down on a piece of paper, you know, I was gonna give up, you know, hanging out with my friends, you know, when work wasn't done, you know, throughout my full day. You know, I gave up listening to music in my car, turned it into a podcast studio, you know, going to and from work. And I also gave up, you know, smoking, you know, 19. It is what it is, 2021, I do smoke a little bit of weed. But yeah, basically I just put together something that I had a burning desire for and had a burning desire to make 6 figures. And you know, in 7 to 8 months. And I put that on paper and I followed it day by day and I created a plan. I knew what it took to make the 6 figures. And I followed that plan day by day and only lived it through each 24 hours. Now I feel like that was the biggest thing that made that goal happen was I didn't go ahead and read it and then was like next week, all right, let's see how next week go. Now I focused on my task for each 24 hours leading up to May 31st. And you know, by May 31st, we had made $100,000 and that was my goal. And by seeing that, changed my whole mindset on life. Like anything I put my mind to, anything in this life, I will be able to get done if I truly desire it and truly want it. So that was the biggest takeaway for me.
Manifestation's possible.
Yes, sir.
I love it. What about you, Clay?
Yeah, so like in the beginning of the video, how we said our goal was to make 100,000 this year. But, you know, we made that in 5 months. It's just like, biggest takeaway I'd say is you can always think bigger. You know, at 19, it was hard for us to grasp, at least when we were making no money, that you can make 6 figures in a year. And last month, we actually made $70K in assignment fees. So it's just like, the whole thing is just thinking bigger, you know. I'm sure, you know, 250 could be easily done this year, but I think that's a good goal for us to set right now. But, you know, hopefully we just blow it out the water like we blew out 100,000 this year as well.
Go bigger. Go
Yes,
bigger.
sir.
I love it. So for anyone who wants to connect with you guys, where can they find you at?
You can find me on IG, Darius Woodfield _, or you can follow me on Twitter at 2_Darius.
I just mainly use IG at Clay J Stiltner. So
Awesome. Reach out to them, follow them, 19 years old, killing the game. You know, there's a lot of young people out here that are scared to get in and get started or scared and they don't know how to get started. So reach out to them, know that it's possible. It's living proof right here. Like, it's not rocket science, it can be done. So, you know, whatever that dream is, especially if it's real estate, just get started at the end of the day. So appreciate you guys both being on here. This is a blessing. It's been awesome to see and watch the growth and help any way I can. And I'm very excited to see what you guys have in store in the future because I know this is just the beginning.
It's def, bro. It's a pleasure, dog.
Absolutely.
It's a pleasure.
So drop any questions you have in the comment section below. Make sure you smash that like button for the YouTube algo. Hit that subscribe button as well. As always, we'll see you on the next one.